What up, everybody? You know, I always say a good timeline of events really tells a story and gives you like the best perspective of things. So I'm gonna play casual chronologist right now and give what I found from casually observing, different videos in regard to the YouTuber double murder that happened on, I believe it was June 9th of this year. See, I'm starting with the chronology already, right? Now, I do want to say I was not a fan or a consumer of either of these people's live streams, anyone involved. I didn't know about these people prior to June 9th or probably even June 10th. So, what I say is just from me casually observing and putting it all together. Now, if this video does enough numbers where it attracts people that may have been tapped in to either of these people in this tragedy, please feel free. Edit the video in the comments. Let me know what I got wrong. Feel free to delve into some things that I may have just glanced over that you feel was important. Anything like that. Help break the story down and build the bigger picture, right? So with that said, let's get into it. As many of you know, a YouTube personality by the name of Manny Wise, I believe his channel was SinCity Manny Wise, who at max had about anywhere from 43 to 46 point something thousand subscribers. He was in a physical real life confrontation with a YouTube personality by the name of Finny Da Legend, YouTube subscriber cap somewhere in the 3 point something thousand, as well as him being in a beef with Finny's woman who goes by the name of Bubbly. I don't know if she has a channel herself, but she played an active role, as I understand, in her husband's content that he did on YouTube. So here's the story as I know it. It dates back to approximately 2021. The guy that you see on this side, the Manny Wise, he was doing his live streams already. I don't know if he started in 2021, but he was getting his numbers up, doing live streams, IRL, I believe they may call it in real life streaming. He'd be on the strips of Las Vegas performing. He'd dress up in clown makeup, stuff like that. I don't know all the details. I saw some of the videos of what he did. Some of them looked antique-y and kind of like silly, clownish stuff, pun intended, because that was his lane. But he started to build an audience involving the Las Vegas Strip, right? Now, around this time, or sometime shortly after, Finny Da Legend, on this side, rest in peace to the man, he actually was, I guess lack of other terms, a fan of Manny. He would be in his chat rooms, he would be supporting him, he would be donating to him, as I understand. And he was basically aligned with Manny. He was rocking with Manny at that point, prior to them even meeting. Actually, let me add that too. Also, sometime between 2021 and Halloween night of 2023, I believe they also met up in person. I don't know if it was a fan gathering that Manny had or something, because he was doing his numbers. He was kind of, lit in the Las Vegas Strip, if you know what I'm talking about, right? So he may have even met him in person, as Finney did publish a YouTube video or Instagram or something, or some short that shows him recording, or presumably him recording Manny like racing down a hallway back and forth, and he titled it The Good Old Days or something like that, to imply that he has met him in person prior to October 31st, 2023, which is a very crucial night and chronological date in this story that we're going to get into, right? So the point is, Manny was rocking with Finny. Well, yeah, I guess Manny was rocking with Finny too, because that was his fan or whatever, but Finny was rocking with Manny. Now, it's been reported that Manny, even though he's getting his numbers up and everything, he's building his audience, it's been said that he was on some bullshit. That's what, not my words, but essentially other people's words. Something to the effect of he wanted to run the Las Vegas Strip live stream series scene. I didn't even know such scene existed. But he wanted to be the godfather, the Don of the Las Vegas or Las Vegas Strip live streaming scene. Like, you can't rock out there. You can't even go live if you don't come through homes or something like that. I don't know, right? But the point is, there were other Las Vegas live streamers that took offense to that, or maybe they couldn't eat. I don't know all the details. Again, y'all in the comments, let me know if you peep this, right? Give me the details. Some of y'all may have been affected by this blackballing or this gatekeeping that Manny was on. I don't even mean to laugh too much because the shit is a serious situation, right? But anyway, Manny, according to a lot of people, was on some shit. And because he was on some shit, again, this is sometime between 2021 and Halloween of 2023. Because he was on some shit, he started to lose some support, right? And so there were people kind of like in the cut, like, yeah, I don't know about dude. You know, we might have to get rid of him. Maybe not kill him or something, but look, we're not feeling him as much as we were because he's getting big-headed. He think he's running shit now, right? So now, all of that said, we're going to fast forward Halloween night of 2023. This is the time that Manny and Finny's wife had a confrontation that did turn physical, right? So, as I understand, there was another streamer that was because they also said Manny was fucking with people and bullying other streamers, including women, and picking on soft people in the street, like acting all hard like he's gonna beat them up and doing all types of bullshit. So they say, right? So there was this woman streamer, as I understand, that allegedly Manny was picking on sometime between 2021 and Halloween night of the year I'm talking about, right? Bubbly, who again is the wife of Finny, so she's probably there, you know, peeping it too. I don't know if she was an audience member of Manny between these 2 years or roughly 2 years or not. I don't know that, but you know that's her husband, so she probably knows what's going on at the very least, right? So there was a woman live streamer that allegedly Manny was picking on or harassing or something to that effect. Bubbly wasn't feeling that because I guess the woman wasn't standing up for herself or something, right? So what she does when she's on the strip, I believe it's called the Fremont Strip, right? Manny's out there doing his thing, doing what he does in his clown makeup, standing around, whatever he does, he was doing that, right? You know, to his audience and everything. Finny, as I understand, this was his first live stream. This was the first time he went from a casual audience member or supporter of someone else to deciding to do his own thing, right? However, at this time, the beef wasn't on. There wasn't any tension between Manny and Finny at the earlier times of Halloween night 2023, right? So again, Bubbly felt the way that Manny was allegedly picking on another female live streamer. So what Bubbly does is she approaches Manny. She gets up within his space. She doesn't touch him, but she gets up maybe this distance apart from him, very close up in his space, right? After taking Finny's cell phone that was already live streaming, you know, first stream, like I said, and then she picked it up and she started doing her thing or whatever. She was also allegedly bubbly, intoxicated, you know, a little extra and stuff like that. So she decides to put the camera up in Manny's face and starts questioning him. Why you picking? I don't know how she said it, but essentially, why you picking on what's her name? What's her name for? Yeah, you owe us answers. Why you doing that? Da 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 da. With the camera all in his face, not touching him. And this is also, you can find this on video, right? So, I don't know. I think Manny allegedly says something verbally to her. I just don't necessarily know what it is. But what you do see on video is Manny kind of pushed the camera away that she's holding. So he's the one that made the first physical contact, right? She's up close to him, not touching him, but still in his space with the camera. He pushes the camera away and might also have exchanged some words with her, right? So at this point, Manny has a security guard, right? So that gives you a little, you know, a little idea of how he's doing. Maybe he's popping a little bit. If he's out there and, you know, has enough, you know, to actually have his own hired security, that should tell you something about, you know, his level that he, and the traction he was building or whatever, right? So the security guard steps in between Manny and Bubbly, because at this time, Bubbly's heated. You know what I'm saying? Security guard steps in between them, and at some point after that, Manny reaches around the security guard and pepper sprays Bubbly. Now, again, you know, after Manny pushed her away, she was hot, so she might have tried to physically get on him again. I mean, the security guard didn't step in between them, excuse me, for no reason. So That should tell you something right there. But Manny sneaks some pepper sprayage all up in Bubbly's face. Finny was like a few, maybe a yard or so away at the time, because as I understand, there was some other commotion going on a few feet away from them already, so he was kind of preoccupied with that, right? So at this time, now Finny kind of eases on in and gets closer to where his wife is. Doesn't do anything to Manny per se, though, right? So then, Manny has a homeboy that's with him. I believe his name is Smelly Drawers. I don't know if that's the name that people joke around with him, or if he actually rocks the dude they call Smelly Drawers, if he actually rocks with that name himself. I'm not sure. But somebody who the best name association I have with him is Smelly Drawers also gets in on the pepper spraying and also sprays Bubbly, right? Now she flipping out at this time, hooting, hollering, or whatever. And then Manny's woman, like I said, it was Halloween night. Manny's woman was dressed up as a witch with a stick. So she takes the witch with a stick and hits Bubbly in her shit. She knocks her in the grill or whatever with the stick. And all this commotion and crazy shit is going on. As I understand, Finny did not put hands on Manny after that or whatever, right? So that happens Halloween night. So now they got an issue. They didn't have an issue before. Those are the events that gave him that issue on Halloween night. There was another dude, an ex-football player, I forget his name, I think he played for the Cowboys, that was a friend of Finny, right? And it said that, Finny was upset, but Finny wasn't trying to get a dude physically, and it said that the football player advised Finny to hit Manny in his pockets. You know what I'm saying? There's, like I said, there's already people that was thinking Manny's on some shit because he's picking on people and shit like that, and he's saying he runs the strip and all this other shit. So Finny could grab onto that audience and build an audience off of the people that's starting to go against Manny. And then so Finny started making his YouTube content, as I understand, more related about Manny than anything else. You know what I'm saying? A Manny hate page, if you will. And he started building an audience. He started getting numbers in live streams. He started getting donations. And he just, he would just be clowning Manny. You know the deal. All types of stuff. Manny's cheating on his girl. Manny's messing with men. This, that. The back and forth banter that goes on. Right? So, let's say about a year later, Manny's audience and popularity starts to dwindle. It starts to take a hit. And also, sometime between that Halloween night and June 9th of, this year, whatever, there were flag wars going back and forth. Copyright strikes. Now, mind you, at the time of Finny's death, he had a little over 3,000 subscribers, I believe, on his main page. I think both of these people had multiple pages, but I believe Finny's top dog page had 3-point-something thousand subscribers. Remember, Manny's top page had somewhere between 43 and 46,000 subscribers, right? So Manny is the one that has more to lose as far as an audience and taking a loss and taking a hit in support. And then when the flags go down, if Manny loses his page, that could be a substantial amount of income that's being lost. So as I understand, they were going back and forth, flagging each other and stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, sometime between Halloween night 2023 and up until recently, it did financially affect Manny, right? Now, what was Manny's clapback within this time? Subtle threats, dressing up as a clown, shooting gun poses. I believe he made another page. I forget the name of what it is, but it was essentially a green light channel because it was ripe with content from Manny talking about forming crews, internet crews in the streets, saying like, Holmes, if you see Finny, you know what to do. Yeah, it's green light on him. It's green light. Oh, because this is important too. Finny and his wife are from Arizona or lived in Arizona, and Manny is either from or at the time was living in Las Vegas, right? So Manny, he's still a bigger YouTube personality, so he had people all over the country, whatever. So He would even reach out to people that live in Arizona and be like, get at him, get at him. Now, whether or not people would have really done something, more than likely not. But apparently, Manny was more serious than you may think that the people that's listening to this are going to take him as, right? So that happened. And yeah, so that's the general history between these people. And of course, June 9th, or the night of June 9th, around 10 something p.m., 2025, was or let's take it back. Let's take it to June 8th, maybe even earlier. Finny is, I guess, on vacation with his wife, returning to Las Vegas on the strip, live streaming, showing his location, having a good time, stuff like that with his wife. Uh, Manny does a video on, I believe, the 8th of June in his car, on some stuff like, yeah, I heard you in my town. I want to meet my biggest fan. Talking his shit and still implying that he has harm to do. Actually going as far as claiming that he's checked every casino on the Las Vegas Strip, checked every area where people would be that's tourists or that will go to have a good time and everything. And as I understand, that's a lot of dedication. That would take a whole lot of time to do and a whole lot of energy, right? So that was the 8th of June. And then June 9th was Finny's last live stream as he was on the strip, live streaming for, I think, a little over 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Just out there doing his thing. The dude, Manny, ends up, all right, so Finny's holding the camera at this point, kind of in selfie mode with it, focused in on him. People in Finny's chat room at this time, around 10 something p.m., are telling him, like, yo, Manny has been walking by you a few different times. There was even some guy, I believe, in the chat room by the name of Donut, who made a comment, something to the effect of, yeah, Manny's walking around, but he ain't gonna do nothing to you, ain't gonna do shit. And you could even hear on the live stream, if I'm not mistaken, Finny says, facts, Donut. He was just all smiles, not really worried about it, not sweating it. So, in the fateful final moments of what happened, you see Manny in the background casually walk by Finny. Mind you, Finny is also there with his wife. She's right next to him. Casually walk by him. And then Finny gets in the camera. He's a big dude, so he starts conquering the space of the camera, right? Laughing, responding to the people in the chat room and everything. And then as soon as he moves out of frame, you instantly now see Manny in the frame, and you see Finny's wife stepping in front of him saying, don't try any shit now, don't do any shit now, or something to that effect. And that's when Finny pulls out the gun. That's when Manny pulls out the gun, shoots Finny. Bubbly, Finny's wife, gets shocked and everything, grabs her camera, and then I believe drops her camera, and then she also gets shot. They both die. Manny gets up out of there. Manny's wife, who goes by the name of Julie, she was also there. And some say that she kind of casually walked off the scene, and she herself is the one that went to the police and told them that her husband just shot someone or some people, those two people or whatever, right? Now, mind you, in at least one, maybe even more of, the WWE promo videos, or I guess they weren't really just promo video, WWE shit, right? You'll see Manny, and right by his side is his woman, Julie, and he's talking this stuff, and, she's just there. So now we're going to go into my opinion. I gave y'all the general timeline. Again, if I missed something, I'm sure there's a whole lot that I did miss. You know this story. Drop it in the comments. I got something wrong. Edit this video. The comment section will be part of this video if enough people watch it to develop a comment section. It's up to y'all, right? So we're getting into the opinion part of it, right? I believe there's no way that Julie, Manny's woman or whatever, did not know what Manny had intended on doing. These are couples. Just like Bubbly, there's no way that she didn't know, even if she wasn't an audience member like Finny was to Manny, there's no way that she didn't know, apparently, that Manny was picking on other YouTubers. Because she even stepped up in front to help a YouTuber on her own. You know what I mean? Because they share in an intimate space with each other, so they know the goings-ons that's going on between them, between their respective partners or whatever. So there's no, if Manny is on camera making gun motions and putting out big green light hits and forming crews to green light Finny, and he's doing that on camera, just imagine what's going on off camera. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine the actual punching air or punching walls or shit that you don't see on camera if this dude's wilding on camera and right by his side is his woman, Julie. So I don't think there's any way that she did not know that he didn't intend to shoot uh Finny. She probably knew he had a gun on him when they were out rocking. She probably knew what he intended to do with that gun the whole time. Just my opinion, right? Uh, some more opinions. Finney was, as I understand, a big guy, about 6'4". Manny, some say, is as short as 5'2". That could be an exaggeration, but as you can see in the videos with them, he was considerably short. Finney seemed like, I'm not trying to diss him, but he just seemed kind of like on some goofy stuff. You know what I'm saying? He didn't seem like he was a physical threat at all. I think it's crazy that his wife could get pepper sprayed and he didn't take any other like immediate action, right? I think that's bonkers. I think that's insane. I think it's even more crazy, and this is where the goofy stuff goes on, where this dude Manny could walk by him in the background. Finney sees him walking by him in the background and starts to smile and keeps his back turned to him. I think that shit is insane. Dude just unfortunately had no street sensibility whatsoever. You don't sleep on anyone. I don't care who it is. I don't care. Perfect example. Manny, as goofy as Finney has been acting and seeming to be, Manny shouldn't have slept on Finney. For that matter, you don't sleep on anyone, right? Now, what started this? Whose fault is this? It's so convoluted. I absolutely, because a lot of people say Bubbly is the main one that's at fault for setting off these events. I absolutely think she was completely wrong for when there was no rift between her man and dude. There was absolutely no reason for her to take her camera and have it all up in dude's personal space like that, even if it's to defend another person. If that other person ain't willing to defend herself against dude, all right, she a woman, you a woman, woman power, all that. Yeah, I understand that. But if that woman ain't willing to stand up for her woman power and hold herself down, that tells you that if you, Bubbly, were in her situation, she wouldn't do the same thing to you. What they said on South Park, gods and clods. You can't play God for a clod. Let them handle their handle or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Especially on some YouTube streaming shit, talking of words. We're not talking about someone getting an innocent elderly lady getting beat up in the street. Something like that is different. We're talking about little YouTube nonsense. That is no reason for you to get up in a man's personal space with your camera this far apart. Now, is it legal? Sure. I think it falls under the "I'm not touching you" act, but it's still very rude. It's still very offensive. Forget the legalities of it. That doesn't matter. Manny was also not in the right to then wave her away in a physical type of way, because you don't put your hands on people either. So once the hands were put on, someone say, "Oh, it was put on her phone. You didn't touch her." Her phone was connected to her hand, and his hand connected to her phone. So that's by proxy. He pushed her hand away. You know what I'm saying? You just don't do that. But can you totally blame someone's instant reaction when someone has a camera in a personal space? Not really. So to be quite honest, between the physical contact Manny made on Bubbly when she had the phone all up in his grill piece and her having the phone all up in his grill piece, I say she's worse. I just think there should have been better communication. You just gotta try to keep composure as much as you can. Man, get that phone out my face. I'm here doing my thing. Yo, we'll talk offline if you want to talk about that, but get that phone out my face right now, please. I'm not here for that. Something to that effect. So that's why I say it's convoluted. Things escalated and escalated. Manny didn't seem like the most innocent dude if he was out there harassing other people and being the gatekeeper, being the Don of all Las Vegas YouTubers or IRL Vegas Strip YouTubers. They gotta come through him or else. That was a bullshit if that is indeed what he was on. Sure, you know what I'm saying? But these guys, Finny and Bubbly, or specifically the Bubbly in this situation, if the beef did not involve you, you were not part of that beef. At that time, y'all were cool. At that time, your husband, your man, actually met dude in person already as a fan of his content. He's probably the one that inspired Finny to start doing YouTube shit. You feel me? So, you know what I'm saying? He was already a fan of it. So you were probably supporting too. It's like everything was peace on that type of level. You should have found a way, she should have found a way better civil way to express her discontent of Manny harassing another woman than to get all up in his space and demanding. He said, so why are you fucking with her? Or whatever she said. You know what I'm saying? The other component, I forget the D Ware, I think the ex-football player's name is, played for the Cowboys or something like that. He was Finney's homeboy, but he also, as I understand, met Manny even before he knew Finney. You know, maybe, I guess he lives in the Vegas area along with Manny. I don't know. But he ended up being more aligned and closer to Finney than Manny. So after that Halloween night situation is when D Ware, the ex-football player, started advising Finney of how to clap back at Manny. As I understand, he showed him how to do StreamYards, how to do streams, how to get his YouTube shit popping. Now, mind you, it was probably more helpful stuff he was doing than aggressive, destructive stuff. Because, I mean, if he was helping him with getting his YouTube thing started, that's productive. That's a good thing. But then there's also people saying, even him to a degree, saying that he advised him, the D Ware dude advised Finney on how to get back at Manny other than calling the police. If, you know, he's not a gangster, obviously the Finney dude wasn't, calling the police, getting a restraining order as bitch ass as that is. But, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or just busting his ass and getting it over with. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like the time to bust the nigga's ass was as soon as that pepper spray hit your wife. Like, there was no... That's another problem. Unfortunate thing with the Finney dude. I didn't see any instinct. Certain things are instinct. You ain't even gonna know what you did until after it's done. That's usually how that works when you got the instinct like that. Your wife get pepper spray. Was she in the wrong? Absolutely. But pepper spray hit her face, boom. You know, you a big dude. You could smother dude, right? When dude walked by him after making all these threats, you don't just smile and look at him like passively look at him. He didn't look him directly in the eye. This might be a first for me that I've ever heard of. He passively looked at him and smiled. He's facing the opposite direction of him, or kind of adjacent, right? This nigga's going that way, Manny that is, walking this way. Finney's looking at his own camera this way. He sees him walk by, and he smiles at him while facing the opposite side of where Manny's at. Nah, dude, instinct's supposed to happen, and the first instinct is to get your wife up out of there. In fact, your wife shouldn't even been there. You shouldn't even been there. The Finney dude, he obviously wasn't somebody that anyone would fancy as some type of hard dude, a gangster. He was like a big, I ain't trying to diss the man, but, you know, from the little that I saw, I could see why he would get the numbers, why it took until getting into a beef with another dude that had a little vibe, had a little motion. I could see why it took that long for him to get his props up. That's the best way I could put it. And yeah, I read a dude that was just on some goofy shit. You know, there's a lot of goofy people. But if you're gonna be goofy, ain't nothing wrong with being goofy. You know what I'm saying? One good thing that I could get out of this is, at least up until the very last moment, you could say Finney went out happy. He was smiling, laughing, being his regular, you know, him and his bubbly wife. They, you know, prior to that last couple split seconds, they went out happy. But that was the dude. That's the vibe I got off of dude, a happy type dude. So if you're that type of dude, which it's good to be. I mean, I'm that type of dude too. But there's got to be a certain sensibility. If you're going to be out in dude's backyard, and dude already did a video yesterday talking about he's running around looking for you or whatever. If you are going to do that and bring your wife there, then you better have some certain type of militance about yourself and some type of protocol and just spring into actionness about you. So when dude was smiling when he saw him walking by him, that was your time to rush him or something, or put distance between your wife and Manny. In fact, Bubbly, that's what she did in her last moments. Because Manny came, She said, don't start no shit. She's the one that actually, when Finny was in the frame smiling, when he got out the frame, you see his wife closer to Finny. And then in back of her, you see Manny. So his wife actually stepped in between her husband and dude. So his wife, if anyone, was more the protective or attempting to be the protective one in this situation. But Finney should have been the protective one to begin with by not even going there. Or if you are going to go there, do not bring your wife there. What if he'd have brought his kids there? You know what I'm saying? That was unfortunately a mistake. You know what I'm saying? So that's the timeline of events as I know it. I might even be forgetting a detail here and there, but this is just my casual chronology from consuming different videos and listening and putting the pieces together and putting the timeline together. 2021 up until, this year. That's how it went down. Y'all leave y'all thoughts below. Let me know what you think about it.